What are your thoughts? Let's just jump straight
Sure.
to
Speed
the
round.
impact grenade.
So, as you were
What do you think
saying,
about that?
you sort of said earlier, like, yeah, none of this stuff really changes anything. It's not a big change. I was about to be like, except for this impact grenade.
Oh no, we couldn't possibly put cooking grenades in the game because it would be way too. Oh, hang on a sec. Let's just put an impact one instead.
Welcome to ScavTalk, an Escape from Tarkov podcast with a continued focus on development of the game, patch note analysis, theory crafting, and general gameplay discussions. My name is Church. I'm one of your hosts. I am a video editor for a Tarkov YouTuber named Airwing Marine.
And I'm GigaBeef, a Tarkov YouTuber, and helping you guys get better at the game. And welcome back, everybody. We are into the full pre-wipe hype. It's very, very exciting. But before we get into all that, Church, how have you been getting on this week? What's been going on?
Staying busy. Working on some projects. I haven't really got to play any, but yeah, that's all I can say is staying busy.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, I mean, I have done bits and pieces here and there, but I have to say that I was really doing well with like daily quests and like playing a bit of this and that. I've like tried to stay away from customs because like given that we're kind of towards the end of the wipe, like it's my comfort map, and I'm like when this wipes, we can be playing a lot of this boy. So I was like trying to stay away, mainly doing either like shoreline, reserve, and factory. A lot of factory, as I said last time, just because it's easy to jump in and just do whatever. But since the kind of like wipe stuff has like really, really ramped up, I just found like, I don't know, I've just taken a bit of a back seat on it, like stop doing the daily quests and that kind of thing, because it's like, kind of what's the point now? Because I really did, it's actually quite bad because I didn't actually end up getting max traders, which I did want to do. I'm like 50,000 XP off getting level 42.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, what's the point? I can't really be bothered because this wipe is like, I think it's the first wipe since my wipe one where I didn't get max traders just because of like the limited playtime that I had this time, which is a bit sad. But there's been so much going on in the Tarkov world that I don't feel like most of the excitement's actually. I mean, yeah, there's wipe stuff going on, which we'll talk about, like pre-wipe stuff. But other than that, I don't think there's. I don't know. There's just like the incentive to play has kind of gone away a bit, and I'm like more excited about like watching what people are having to say about things, about the different announcements as they come out, and that's kind of what I've spent a lot of my kind of Tarkov time doing. Is it's just like I don't know, just interacting with the community, like seeing what people have to say, like seeing the excitement, because it's fun, and I'd rather do that than kind of I guess like wander around with the Mark 18, which is kind of what I spent like the last 2 weeks doing, and that's great and all, but it's probably also a good time to take. I was talking with some commenters as well on YouTube, and I was like, people saying, taking a bit of a break towards the end, and I'm like, you know what, that's honestly probably not a bad thing. Like when the wipe hits, everybody ramps up their playtime. So taking a little bit of a break on it now is fine. It's not. I feel almost more connected to like what's actually happening than usual because I'm kind of not playing as much necessarily and just sort of like seeing what happens and where it goes. So yeah, no, it's good, but yeah, it's been exciting. There's been a lot of stuff to watch, to read, to see, to like check out what's going on. I kind of started writing down in the list of like various things that have been happening with the pre-wipes, but it's the usual, right? It's like bosses on different maps is how it began. We had like different chances of bosses in different places, and then there was the like Christmas card kind of thing with all the bosses, and then they're all on interchange all at once. And I think that's still going now. I don't know. I guess this is a bit of a funny cast because like by the time this goes out, we may actually have wiped.
So we should talk about that because last week, it was what was that Friday when we were recording, they just did a podcast with was it Nice Guy and no, what podcast? I can't remember the
Was
details.
that the community? Was that like the Dan
Yeah, that's it. Dan Exert, Sneaky, yeah. And at the end of that, Nikita, like when they were closing, Nikita was like, "Hey, you should go check Instagram right now. We're posting something there that fans of the game want to see." And then it's the title where it's like it's a black screen with a small Escape from Tarkov logo and just white, black text of like a white box that says, "You already know when patch 12.12 wipe is released" or whatever. And it's like 12 Twitter just starts exploding with, like speculations theory. You got the watch theory, you got the picture in the mansion theory. There's just some crazy stuff. Then you got, oh yeah, friendly guys, four steps theory, because January 4th. I don't know if you saw that, but that's kind of funny. Just memeing, of course. But as we all know, nice guy Nolan, shout out to him. He said that he would if Wipes on the 12th, that he would dress up in a clown costume. And I was kind of, I don't know. We were kind of like saying it's possible it will happen on the 12th, but it's unlikely. But as things have developed throughout the weeks, it kind of seems like, well, Wipe might be, this Sunday coming up. So it's kind of, I don't know, dude. I mean, I'm ready for it. I'm excited, but yeah, it's kind of crazy how it's all been sort of ramping up with these events.
Absolutely. I think I think I'm ready for it as well. It's like I don't like the pre-wipe stuff to last for more than like a week, particularly because
Yeah,
everything just goes completely wacky, right? Like all the
right.
prices go through the roof. Everything just goes like just bonkers. And once the economy's done that, like there's no going back. So that's when you kind of know that the wipe's coming. But the thing that I'm finding interesting right now is that pretty much everybody is saying like 12/12 wipe confirmed. And I don't think it's
Yeah,
confirmed. I think it's very likely at this point. Don't get me wrong. I think it's,
sure.
over 80% chance that it's going to be on Sunday. But I don't think it's confirmed by any means. Like there's lots of people quoting saying, "Oh, it's confirmed now. Oh yeah, we know the wipe's on Sunday now." And I really don't think that. Right? The reason why people think that is because it was posted in Pestely's chat by Nikita using the actual Battle State Games like Twitch account,
Yeah.
and he wrote 12. He wrote the word 12/12 in his chat.
Well, my understanding was that Pestily asked Nikita, when's Wipe, and then that's what Nikita wrote. He wrote the word 12 and then a
12
slash
hat slash 12.
12.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. Like,
Right.
I
I mean,
think
I'm
he
with
could be
you.
messing around. I don't know. Like,
It's not a hard confirmation for
it
sure.
isn't a hard confirmation, and I'm not. I don't know. That's why I say, look, I think it's overwhelmingly likely that it will be, but there's an outside chance that it isn't. So we had the Obdolbos improvement lore
Yes.
piece that came out, and I've always said it a million times. I love these lore pieces. It's so good. Ever since like when I did like my story one, and I was like, they should do this,
Mhm.
and then they started doing it, and it was sick. Not that I think I had anything to do with it. It's just a good idea. Um, and so they had the Sanatar one saying like, I've improved the formula and I've got rid of all the side effects. Lel. Um, except for the 220% damage increase that. But anyway, so that one on the old doll boss, Obdolbos, is that how you
Uh-huh.
pronounce it? Like this,
Dude,
honestly, it's
don't
just
ask
like
me.
that's actually the bigger community divider than anything else, I'm sure. But on that one, all of the stats were timed to the duration of like two. Was it like was it 23? Was it 2312 or something? So it's like
I thought it was
2312.
2,212. Yeah, yeah.
Or was it
I think
2212? I can't remember. So it was either
I could
22nd or
pull it up.
23rd. And yeah, you pull it up and see. I think maybe it was the 23rd, or maybe it was the 22nd. But see what it says. But that one's kind of like, oh, so they've thrown like a different number in. Okay, so someone in the chat saying it's 2221. So there you go. So that's like the 22nd instead. So who like they're just like
Yes.
throwing random numbers out where to confuse and that kind of thing. I think Nikita
Right.
loves it. He loves like teasing the community like this. And so who who really knows?
Yeah.
Although like just given the cycle of like when the event's happening and now, so yeah, what did I say before? So I said all the bosses on interchange, and I think that's still the case as of, was it yesterday evening or this morning or something? Like Labs is now free.
I think this morning
And
Labs is
I think
free,
it was
yeah.
this morning. Labs is free, and the flea market is now shut. It is closed. You can no longer post anything on the flea unless you're level 99, of course, which is what it says. I don't know if you've tried, but if you go in, it says
I haven't
you must be
tried.
level 99 to post any items. And so when you go in, it's weird because you're looking through the different things.
Mhm.
Um, it's just all trader listings, which is like it's kind of weird because you normally only see that if you tick like traders only. And yeah, you can't post any items on the fleet. There are some still on there that you can buy if they were up there already. But what's
Right.
basically happened is like all of the decent, semi-decent, and like ridiculous deals are already bought because no one has anything else to do with their cash. And then only the like insane level are left. Like when I went on before, there were 3 pieces of armor up, and I think I can't remember what it was. There was like a lower tier piece of armor for like 20 mil, something
Mm-hmm.
else, and a slick for 50. And that was it. That was like the entirety of all of the armor left in the game, which is like really funny. It's really, really funny. So I don't know. We'll see. Like, given that they've done that, I think Sunday's probably a goer.
Now, see,
Um,
I saw this post on, or I didn't see it, but I heard about it. It was on Reddit, and someone was like, "Okay, guys, you know that stem, Aldavo stem, how it has the
yeah,
2212 on it. If you take the time that they posted that the event went live, and you take all those seconds and you add them all up together, it equates to Sunday at 10 a.m. their time. And I'm like, like, okay, dude, this is some real tinfoil hat stuff. Like,
yeah, proper
it was
like
some.
get the foil hats on.
But I mean, another way you could take it is, because my understanding is in Europe you do the day and then the month, so it could be like 22nd of December is another way you
Yeah,
could interpret it.
that's how I read it just automatically,
That's
being a Euro guy.
right, right. So it's kind of I don't know, Nikita. I mean, I'm right there with you. Is that I think this is just I won't say a marketing ploy, but it's sort of like the thing to do to drive engagement and hype. You just sort of like throw breadcrumbs, maybe some like red herrings in the mix.
Yeah.
So
Just tease everybody. It just drive
yeah,
everybody completely insane. Like the
for
community is in
real,
like
dude.
it's so good though. Honestly, people are so in such high spirits about it. It's like people who are loving the events are playing and loving them. The people who aren't loving the events can just chill and like hype out with the community and wait for the vibe. Right? It's fine. Like everybody's kind of happy right
Yeah,
now because there's nothing. We don't know what it's going to be like yet, so there's nothing to complain about. And people can just like kind of do what they want or take a break or whatever. Like it's maybe this is it's kind of like the calm before the storm, like the perfect moment where everyone's just like
yes,
the community's just like
everyone's in
and like everything's
bliss. Yeah,
good, and then the wipe hits and then it's going to be like oh god, the servers are on fire. There's people it's India, and then like people are spamming anime tunes down VoIP and stuff like it's before the bedlam kicks off.
speaking of
But
which,
yeah.
did you see their latest posts? Apparently, they put out a TikTok, which they post on Twitter, of VoIP in game and how it functions. Did you see that?
I did actually. Yeah, they're shouting at each other in Russian, and I don't know what they say, to be honest. But it seems pretty. It sounded pretty cool. It's actually kind of weird. It's actually kind of weird, like not having ever used VoIP in it. You're just kind of like watching it, like oh my god, like it's so strange. It's gonna change the game. It's gonna be so weird
Yeah.
at first, but it's gonna be pretty cool. It's gonna be pretty cool. I just don't know whether people are going to be like super backstabby, whether it's just going to be like only kind of trash talking and stuff. I really don't know. I don't know. It's going to be super cool though. I
I
think
don't
it's
know
going to
either.
be a real mixed bag of stuff. And
Yeah, for sure.
sometimes it's going to be really really neat. Sometimes it's going to be Wild West and you get shot in the back of the head, whatever. But that's kind of like the way EFT's always been. So
Mhm.
I think it'll like given now it's kind of shoot on sight and all that stuff. I think the positive interactions will be more so without taking
Yeah,
away
yeah,
all of the kind of danger like Scav Karma did. I think it's like a good thing. We'll see. We'll see.
yeah. My only gripe is that last I've heard, it's gonna be disabled by default. So
Yeah.
I that's my only gripe is because I feel like if you're a new player, that's just gonna be one of your tools of sort of your survival, like, "Hey, I'm new, I just need the pocket watch," and then it's gonna be like, if they're not even aware that VoIP's in the game and you're trying to talk to them, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't wanna kill you, but you're fighting, you're afraid of me, where I'm trying to talk to you, but he
Yeah.
can't hear me, so it's kinda gonna be a weird thing, so we'll see. I kind of maybe there'll be some pushback. I don't think there will be, but we'll see.
Yeah. I think it's kind of a shame in some ways that people might not know that it's like not on or something. I don't know. Maybe it's difficult. It's a difficult one because like, you won't know whether people have it on or not either. But there's not really any way to fix it. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, we'll just see what happens. I'm gonna put something out tomorrow, which is just kind of like some just like pre-wipe thoughts, that kind of things, like a video. That's like the whole pre-wipe period just like completely screws me up because most content creators are like pretty dynamic and like flexible with their stuff, and there's like soon as anybody says anything, there's like 5 videos up about this stuff. But like I'm just like
Yeah.
I can't do that. It's just not the way that my stuff works
Mm-hmm.
and the way that my scheduling works. And but I like pre-wipe is just really tough for me. I find it really hard because there's like so much stuff going on, and I like make something and I'm like, okay, well now the thing I was going to put up, and I actually did it on Thursday, was this like whole like budget M4 like loadout thing, and I was like, made it like 2 weeks ago, slipped the ballistics thing instead of doing that one, pushed this to this week, and then it's just like, okay, well, like pre-wipe is now like full swing. Some of this stuff might be different. I don't want to have to record the stupid thing. I was like, I'm just gonna release it, like whatever. Like I'll release it. Like people will like it hopefully, and it'll be useful as the wipe continues. And some people watch it straight away, and then some people maybe will find it later.
Exactly.
So we'll see. So then I've got this kind of like update one coming now, but then it's like, what am I going to do next week? I don't know. It depends on whether the wipe happens or not. Like I haven't planned anything. It's just like content's just like super difficult to plan.
Yeah.
In this period.
Oh, tell me about it.
It's really tricky. But it's fun nonetheless. Did you see the trailer?
The trailer?
The patch trailer. Have you seen the patch trailer?
Yes.
Yeah. So
yes.
That's very good. That is very good.
I love Nikita's production on the audio side, like the music, the soundtracks. Oh, they're so good. They're so good.
It's very, very cool. So I did actually see it is quite funny, kind of when I said about how I've just reminded myself, but saying how something happens and then like 1,000 videos pop up. It seems like patch trailer reaction video has become like the go-to thing. It's quite funny. I was like, oh, it doesn't always happen that way. Sometimes some people do that. Some people do like a summary, and some people like do a breakdown or whatever. But it seems like everybody did reaction video this time. It's I was like, oh, okay, it's just interesting. But look, it's very good. It's very, very good. The Lighthouse Map looks cool. I don't really know yet. Like lots of people say, oh, look, it looks sick. I think it's very hard to tell until you play. Get kind of a feel for like the angles, the flow, like where people, like how the fights pan out. I'm not really sure, so I'm just going to reserve judgment until then. I think. I don't know how you feel about it, but like a lot of the stuff that's super cool is like the various things that we saw in the video itself. I think the one that caused probably the most hype is the rangefinder. I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe because people are like excited about that one.
That was the big reaction thing. Like a lot of the videos I saw was like PogChamp face and then like Rangefinder. That was the
because it's quite obvious what it is as well when you see it on like a thumbnail or something. It's like oh, like Rangefinder, but that would be super, super cool. I'm excited for that because it's hard to judge distances right now. I think there was when I was doing some I'm not sure actually. This is like, so I was doing some like tangential research about zeroing. I didn't end up doing something about zeroing because all the ballistics changes. So I may do it like next patch, and it depends on how much like the flattening of the paths like changes everything. So we'll see. It might not be as much of a consideration, so maybe less of an obvious topic. But anyway, in some like reading around the subject and stuff, there was like a video from like a while ago, someone talking about ranging and zeroing and things. Nothing like super in depth, but just kind of like practically how you do it in EFT. I can't actually remember who it was. I think it was quite a popular video of someone who like doesn't play anymore. But anyway, they were saying about how ranging in EFT is really hard because even if you're I don't know, a shooter or whatever in real life, depending on your FOV setting, actually, it's really dramatically changes the way that it like looks. So you kind of superimpose your like intuition from the real world onto the game, and it's like somebody with a really high FOV sees things super far away, and someone with a really low FOV, it's like, oh, that's like 50 meters, and you can get like huge swings in people's estimation of distance. And I think that'll be really, really nice to get this rangefinder in. Yeah, so that people can estimate. Because I never really thought about that before. I was like, oh, that's actually a very good point. And the reason why it's so hard to estimate those distances sometimes, because it does look very different. It does look very different depending on what FOV you've got.
Yeah, because there's my rough understanding is there's FOV, and then because you have the picture in picture, there's a bit of a zoom on top of the FOV. So, if you're at
Mm,
60 FOV and then you zoom in a little bit when you ADS, it sort of like increases that sort of, bigger picture size. So it is kind of a weird thing. And I don't know. I watched a video once. This is a tangent about mouse sensitivity and how like the different scopes change, and it depends on your FOV as well. It's sort of a weird thing going on. But anyways,
yeah,
back to the rangefinder. Yeah, I think there's a lot of really cool things coming because we got the ballistics change coming, right? And the general idea behind that is bullets will travel will not have as much as a curve. They'll be a little bit more linear. I
mm,
think is sort of the idea. And in addition, they'll do less pin, less damage the further that they travel, depending on their ballistic rating or whatever. But so keep that in mind. Keep in mind also that bolt actions have been buffed over the various patches from having their muzzle velocity increased. Because we've always I think we've kind of agreed that sniping feels a bit weak. Unless you're using a DMR, then it's pretty good. But yeah, with long distances, it can be challenging. So then you got the
sure.
rangefinder coming. So now, in theory, you could. There's a lot to speculate here, but let's maybe it's a quest item you get. I don't know if it's lootable. I don't really know the details. If it's really expensive, it might be kind of a weird thing. But let's just assume it's pretty easy to get and it's very common. You could like set up your spots. Let's say you're at Dome and you pull out the rangefinder and then you aim it at I don't know a tower and it's like that's 375 meters. Now that's like saved into your memory, so to speak. You know what I mean? You sort of like know that distance, so it's helps a lot with that, and you could sort of like triangulate, like maybe you're on White Knight or some other building, and you aim at that same tower. It's like, oh, from here to here, it's 300 meters from the dome to here. So now if I'm like in between those 2 points, maybe it's like 350 meters. There's a lot of like kind of it really helps you sort of like have a mental game graph of distancing with Tarkov meters. So
Yeah.
and the other thing I noticed that in the trailer, one of the freeze frames, there's a scene where he has a thermal and he's shooting at a guy, and the guy is like in a tower shooting an MG, it looks like, but he looks like he's really far away, like 300 plus meters, but then maybe more. So I'm kind of speculating that Lighthouse is going to have a lot of variation and like distancing and
Mm,
ranges, kind of like woods. Because I noticed sort of like transitioning the topic a little bit, I noticed that looking at some of the freeze frames, you have the water treatment plant, and around that area, there's like tents and stuff. And I think that's the USEC. Um, they talked about having like a USEC base. I think that's the USEC base
yeah.
there because you have like I think it's like blocked off by the tower and like the barricades, and then there's like the tent section where they're gearing up. I'm pretty sure that's all in the water treatment plant, and that's part of that like interchange power looking building that's there also. Um, but that's like how does that relate to the rest of the parts? I have no clue. And it's like you got like a long street, then you got the giant, mansion type of thing that's on. There's a scene where they're, like, kind of elevated, and they're looking down, and you can see, like, what I assume is the backside of the mansion, and it sort of looks like a hotel entrance that you sort of, like, pull up to, and then, you walk out and go into it. But, presumably, the front side is where you have those different stories that you have, but that's all explorable, and then you have, like, these small little towns they show, like, kinda like on the Woods Update expansion where they got these little towns. Then you got that it's not a boat, but it's like I don't know what you call it, just like a sunken house almost, where they're shooting the guns on top of. It's kinda like dust. Yeah, they're so it looks potentially like a massive map and a good range of like a mix of long range and like close quarter combat. Um, yeah, I'm excited for it.
It's gonna be cool. It depends. It kind of depends on how they like flow people through because there's quite a lot of potential for places like shoreline and stuff to have more fights in like swamps and that kind of thing to like mix it up a bit, but like people
Mhm.
just don't go there. So it's going to depend on what they do. I think I don't know, their map design skills were they're very very good anyway. And I think they've probably only improved as they've released different maps, different updates. The woods expansion is super cool. The customs expansion super cool. Reserves super cool. I don't know. I feel like they're into their swing of things. So I would be surprised if it's a disappointment. Right? It'll be like a decent map one way or another.
Yeah.
I think it probably won't have these kind of like vast expanses of area that just like has nothing in. I just don't think that will really happen. But I could be wrong. We'll
Yeah.
see. But it could be nice. It could be nice and could be neat. And it could be the place where, even though it's technically like smaller than Shoreline, outside of the resort, there's not really that many places that people like are always going to be or like are super hotspots on the outside
Mhm.
of like
Mhm.
other than down the main strip, right? You've got like gas, power, resort, and then outside of that, it's mostly just
Noise.
general area, which I quite
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
As I've said before, I actually quite like fighting in those areas because you never quite know where anyone's going to be. People could sort of be anywhere, and I quite like that. I like sort of that outside spotting and blah blah. It reminds me of like PUBG and stuff. I think it's just like within my comfort zone, but I feel like Lighthouse might be kind of more structured in some ways because there'll be specific places that people might be, and because of the way that it's like Shoreline's kind of awkward because it's sort of like a lot of the bits are like flat ground and then they like raise up like this.
Mhm.
And so that's kind of okay if you're like up on the section. But if you had like if it's like two sort of hilly bits with a drop
A
section, then you
valley
kind
in the
of
middle.
then you give like a lot more like sight lines and like
Yeah.
ways to
Yeah.
shoot people and stuff. Especially if people like are going. I mean, it's not going to be there yet, but with the actual lighthouse itself, and I think there's going to be some kind of like hotspots where you might be able to like find and see these people from a decent distance. Someone just like going back to the rangefinder for a sec. Someone was saying, what if the
Yeah.
rangefinder replaces the compass in that slot? And I just like immediately I was just like, rangefinder every day of the week for me, right? Because once you play a couple of wipes or something, you really don't need it anymore. But that kind of got me thinking. I was like, well, what if like all the utility stuff ends up going in there? They said there was like other things that they might add, like GPS or whatever, and it'd be kind of neat, like if you like had to choose.
Oh,
It just made me
you
think
pick
like,
oh,
similar,
okay, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, you
exactly.
choose
So like,
between
oh,
the
there's the compass
compass or
and
the
there's like a rangefinder, maybe there's
That's
something else, but
interesting.
you can only have
Yeah.
one and like you don't lose
Hmm.
them, but that sounds cool. But yeah, I mean, I would always pick the rangefinder, but I kind of hope it does end up being like a permanent thing so people actually use it. But yeah, it just made me think of that. I was like, oh, that's nice. I like forcing people to make hard choices. Like, here's three things that are awesome. Pick one. I like those choices.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
really good. That's the oh gosh, what's that? What's that? Slay the tower. That's the slay the tower approach to kind of like perks or whatever. It's just like, oh,
Mhm.
there's three awesome things you could pick. You want all of them. Choose one of
Yeah,
them, and the other
yeah,
two are going in the bin.
yeah.
Um,
Yep.
that kind of thing is super cool. So yeah, so that's the new map. Was there anything? Is there anything else actually on it? Oh yes, there was one thing that I saw. Actually, I guess it's not so map related, but whatever. There was one section with the thermal, and the guy's getting shot with the tracers, and you can like seal the tracers, like
Yeah, yeah,
zooming on the
yeah.
thermal scope. I was like, oh my god, that's so sick! Like there's some of the stuff in that trailer just made me so happy and just so excited. It's just the attention to detail, man. I
Goosebumps.
just love it. It's just so
Yeah.
good. Those little things just make all the difference.
I
It
did
just
wanna
makes
jump
all the
back
difference.
on your
Yes.
talking about map design. I really hope that there's not a resort on the map. You know what I mean by this?
Mm.
Because I kind of feel like when you have these loot drives the flow of the map, because there's two objectives, one extracting, two loot. So if there's a very centralized, concentrated point, like it's great to have everyone sort of like conversing to that point, but it also sort of like it's called Snoreline for a reason. If the extract isn't open, that's right next to the hotspot loot, then you have to run 5 minutes to the extract, and there's like 9 times out of 10, there's no one there. Um, which, I kinda agree with you. I do like having those. That's kind of the fun of the joy of early wipe for me is when you do those quests that, like, force you into, like, these, marking the drones on shoreline.
Mm.
You potentially, go a route that's kind of weird, and you happen to run into someone, and an engagement happens. It's like a unique fight, so, yeah, that's kinda my thing is I hope that, there's, like, good loot in the one area, good loot in another area, like, it's very scattered. It's not just like, "Hey, here's the building where all the PvP happens," you know?
I think that's I think that's one of the reasons why customs is so good, because
Mhm.
you've got dorms, you've got crack house, you've
Yeah.
got the fortress stronghold, you've got USEC building.
Yeah.
It's like there's no one place really. Like dorms obviously is the PvP place, but that's kind of like almost historic in many ways, right? Dorms loot
Sure.
actually isn't that good really. There's better
It's
places for loot, but it's just like it's
yeah.
okay, like it's fine, and there's some safes and stuff. Like don't get me wrong, there's not nothing in there, but it's kind of like yeah, it's like the conventional place for to put on all your kit and meet up and shoot each other in the
Yeah.
face, right? But it's small. There's not that much in there, so it kind of then you go and meet some people and the fight happens and you're like, okay, we'll loot these guys, and then if you don't leave straight away, it's like, okay, well, where are we going to go now? It's not like the resort where you can spend the whole time. You can spend 30 minutes in the resort fighting various peoples, players, scavs, whoever, and then you leave and the raid's over. Like it's not like that. So yeah, I agree. I hope it's similar to customs. The reason why people love customs, I love customs. I think everybody loves customs.
Mhm.
Um, much to the new players' lament, because it means that lots of endgame players end up going there because it's just such a well designed map, especially now with the expansions and that kind of thing,
Yeah, the
and it
expansion
makes it a
helped a
bit
lot.
more, just made it a bit more dynamic. I mean, I was very yeah about it the whole time when they did the expansion because it kind of like broke the flow up. But in hindsight, I think that's probably a good thing. Breaking the flow up and making this stuff less structured actually is the way that Tarkov should go. I came to realize,
Hmm.
and yeah, sort of as you say, rushing into like one area and knowing people are going to be there kind of takes like part of the game away. I quite like
Right.
never knowing whether someone's going to be there. There's like a small chance that someone might be there. Like say, when there's like a 20% chance or 30% chance that somebody could be in the area, it's like
Mhm.
enough to sort of lull you into a false sense of security and be like a big enough
Yes.
surprise when someone is there, but not it
Yes.
doesn't happen like so irregularly that you just go like, oh, someone was there like this time 1 in 20. I'm fine. I just won't worry about it. So
Yeah.
yeah, I hope that that's the way that this kind of works out. I do wonder if the map's going to be kind of weird without the lighthouse itself, because I think that will change things. But we'll just have to see. Just have to see. From what we saw, right, it's on like long spit of land,
Yeah, I saw that.
like all barricaded off. So I don't know how. Like, who knows? Maybe even the train goes in or something. I don't know. I didn't look at it in enough detail to know if there's like
Oh,
tracks
that's
and
right.
stuff.
I
But
forgot about the train.
I don't know. But yeah, there's a train that's going to go around the map, which is pretty cool. And there's actually like for a second I thought there was like a reserve dome there, and I was like, wait, this changes my entire thought about how this map. But then I was like, no, it's out in the sea. Like this doesn't make sense. Like that's
Well, hold
different. This
on a
must be a
minute.
different dome.
You think it's a different dome?
I think it must be, mustn't it?
I mean, that makes sense to me, but is it possible that we have the perspective wrong, or is like, I
Just
don't
don't
know.
see how. Because I actually went to reserve
Mhm.
yesterday on offline mode up to dome to go and have a wander around, and like I was I'm a big fan of like the interconnectivity of maps as well and
Yes,
stuff,
yes.
and like I've been doing. I was like pulling up some of the same map. Like it just doesn't. There's no way. There's no way
Yeah,
because it's
because
just like
where
oh, like
would
it's right in the middle of shoreline and it's right in the middle of
yeah,
reserve. Like there's
yeah,
no chance that it's like I don't know. It just didn't seem to make sense to me at
yeah.
all. Maybe something crazy has happened and like space and time has folded in on itself and I'm wrong, but I really don't think I am. But I did it definitely looked like it at first, but I think it's just going to be
Another
um
dome, yeah.
another dome looking kind of like radar station kind of thing. Uh, but yeah, who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I don't know. I'm always open
Yeah,
to
I don't
being wrong about
know.
these things.
I mean, it doesn't really make sense because you do have, like, it doesn't look like a very wide strip of island, and as we know, shoreline is behind dome, and then on the, opposite ends is customs. If you look, I guess it's opposite and a little bit to your right if you're
It's
looking
like
at Dome.
through reserve.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of, yeah, because you're like shoreline is south, regardless of what the maps on the wiki or whoever may tell you. Shoreline is most south. Reserve is just above that, connected
Yeah.
by the dome. Rock Passage being like right underneath the dome.
Yes.
I actually went down the staircase today in Dome, down the stairs, down towards D2, and there's a big steel door towards Shoreline. I don't know whether it's in the right place.
Huh.
Yeah, don't ask me whether it's in the right place or not. But I was like, I wonder if there's something down there which would allow you to go from Rock Passage into Reserve. And there, I mean, there's a door. There's a big steel door. It's not openable. So maybe. And then if you go through Reserve and out to the other side, Customs is out on the other side, and it's kind of offset a little bit to the east, a little bit. But what's interesting there, I remember I was on. This is like actually a while back when I was on Customs looking into Reserve. You can kind of start to see it, but there's like some like apartment block kind of things in the way.
Yeah.
And from Reserve, you can look back and you can see some apartment blocks in the way between that and Customs. So there's actually some land between the two. But yeah, they're pretty much like one on top of the other. So Lighthouse is like, what we've seen on the in-game map, which that's not really an accurate representation of like how it works, but like that's on the far end. And I think on the west side, and I think that the actual lighthouse itself is going to be on the west side of that map too, out on a spit of land, like even further away. So I think it's going to be miles away from everything else, is my personal opinion. I think that's going to be the way it's going to go.
So hear me out. You got the Customs, gas station. There's that train track there. And that sort of connects to Reserve, right? You follow me?
Yes.
Now we know there's going to be a train on Lighthouse, right?
Yeah.
So, but the one on Reserve, where it exits, it goes out of the bunkers into like that sniper field.
Yeah.
So what if that direction is Lighthouse? Because then
it's the right way. It's the right way. It depends on where it goes after that. But it could well be. It could well be part of the same line and I think it probably will be, actually, now that you say that, because obviously no one knows what that section of the map's going to look like yet. I was looking this up earlier. I literally have like one of the combined maps like on the screen here. Actually, my favorite that I found that someone had put together, which I think is kind of neat. But the train tracks actually are really important, and they're one of the primary reasons why we can link the maps up in the first place. It's like there's a train from Terminal, because you can see into Terminal from Shoreline. If you jump up onto the thing, you can like look through, and there's like a bit of Terminal. And we kind of know what Terminal should look like anyway from like the Raid series. And this map, I don't actually like the map that I'm looking at, and was doing a bit of research with. There's actually like a schematic kind of thing. I don't know whether that was maybe on like the Shoreline map or something, but I was like, where did they get that from? I don't actually know. But anyway, it's only like a line drawing, but that's got a train on it, because we know there's My Pain place, where you go and rub yourself on barbed wire. That's the train track right there, and it goes. Oh, there's a bridge, right? There's a train bridge. Crosses over the river on the other side.
Right.
That river's the same river that goes past Big Red.
Which connects
ultimately.
Then you got the road to Customs and that spawn point.
Yeah,
Does
exactly.
That make sense?
And the train that runs past Big Red between the river and the wall of Big Red with the cart that's like knocked over, that continues all the way up. And I think people do think that then connects with like the railway exit on Interchange, because that's the northwesternmost train, right? But there's a bit of the map that you can't see, because Customs is like this, and then Interchange is like off to the side, but then cuts in for the railway, and the railway extract is actually then like all part of this one line. So the train tracks are really useful and really important for like linking the maps up, as I've seen with this. And also the same thing goes for Woods too, actually, because Woods has like an old abandoned train track that goes through. There's like a gate that goes through into the factory area, and then that then follows through to Customs. So it absolutely could go from Reserve down to the Lighthouse and be the way that you go from map to map. Anyway, I don't know. I love this kind of stuff. I actually really love the full world idea, and the way that it's kind of slowly linking up.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, like, I might even do something on it at some point. I think it's kind of neat. I don't know how many people looked into it into as much detail.
Mhm.
Because I look it up every now and then. People like post new things about it, and it's like, we know that Streets is in like the northeasternmost corner of the world map because from all the different maps you can see Streets in the corner. If you're on customs and you're on the
Yeah.
bridge, you can then see it in that northeastern area, and there's like
Mhm.
lots of different places where you can see Streets from.
Mhm.
And it's just kind of neat. So we kind of know that that's kind of the side where that's going to be. And from customs, you can see. Interestingly, actually, I think I was wrong about this. There's like a big building. Maybe you can see part of interchange. I don't think you can though. I think there's a big building which I think it says idea on it, but I think that's actually wrong. I think that's like an idea warehouse or something. Because if you're on interchange and looking back, there's actually a warehouse that you can see from there too, and it should be Ollie first. It shouldn't be an idea. So I think it's actually like another warehouse separately. But anyway, you can see like interchange from customs. You can see obviously reserve from shoreline. You can now see factory inside customs because of the expansion. You can like go really close. You can't go through because it's the gate. You can see factory. It's like super super close to
Is that the
the
gas
gates now with
station?
the expansion.
The
Yeah,
old
if you go,
gas?
yeah, exactly. If you go to,
I
if you
thought.
go to Old Gas, and then it's like it's through the gate from Old Gas, and it's the one with the twin buildings. Um, and then you can, and like, because when you look at the map itself, you can actually like map on where that actually is. Like on off the top of my head, because I haven't looked at this for a couple of months, I can't remember, but you can look and see where like Gate 3 would come out in customs
Mhm.
and like kind of know which orientation, like where roughly you'd end up, which is, I think it's so cool. I really think it's so
Yeah.
cool. And even from Woods, right? Because Woods like is actually between those.
Yes.
Sorry, factories
Yes.
between customs and Woods. You can see factory backwards as well from Woods. And I often use factory actually as like a little in that area of the map. I use it as kind of like a landmark, just like over the wall. Oh, look, there's the things for factory. It must be factory, and this must be where I am. It's neat. I really like it. I really really
So
like it.
so I gotta well, let me say this. It really speaks volumes to BSG's foresight because I can start to see the pieces falling together. So imagine this. You spawn on customs. If you're big red side, you can take the train towards interchange, right? Because what's in between customs and interchange? Is it just
Nothing really.
nothing?
Um, Nothing. It's just kind of like,
Does it go customs interchange labs? Is that how it goes?
well, I think suburbs was supposed to be there first, but I don't think it's going to
Right.
be now.
Okay.
Because Labs is inside streets, I believe. I believe Labs is going to be inside streets because Labs has got like, underground car
Right.
parking and stuff.
Right.
So
Right.
it's like it's in the city somewhere. So I think it's going to be inside. I don't know how we're going to traverse from factory to Labs. Maybe there's like a special train or something, or I don't know. But
Maybe like an
I think
underground
factories,
system.
yeah, like an underground, like mini train or something, or like a little rail system, like a
Hmm.
postal thing, which is like secret passageway or something like that. But it would have to be motorized, I think, 'cause it's quite far, and it would
Yeah.
have to be like secret because I mean it's not out of the question that there's a secret tunnel built between
Yeah.
terror groups, manufacturing of
Hmm.
whatever the stuff is that they're
Blue
making,
ice.
the blue ice and the yellow one. And the actual lab itself. It's not out of the question.
Urine.
um, so yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Well, so here's the other part. So you got that train that leads to interchange on customs. Customs is like the hub. So from customs you could go to factory, and then from factory to woods, and then I think that's a dead end.
Yeah, because there's nothing
Unless
afterwards now
woods.
except for like I think town is the one afterwards. I think there's one more which is town,
Yeah,
uh,
which that's supposedly DLC,
which is supposedly DLC. Um,
allegedly.
because the remember the extract on the now the southern side, but used to be what we thought of as the northern side of Woods,
Stop. I can't handle it.
is called Outskirts, right?
Yeah.
So that's outskirts of town, I believe.
Okay. Okay.
But it's complicated,
Yeah.
It's complicated.
So I wonder if the bridge, where the vehicle is that towards Lighthouse? Then I don't
Which
know.
bridge?
Where the little town is, the new expansion part where there's a bridge and it's like There's a vehicle you can pay money to.
Oh yeah, so that should be. So that's the very northernmost side of the map. We don't really
Oh,
know
it's
what's after
northern.
that.
Gotcha.
We don't really know what's after that. So that's either like suburb. Well, it's kind of going towards streets, I suppose. You probably should be able to see streets from there. I'm actually never really checked that, but you should
Huh.
be able to see streets from there or something. But
Might have to crank up the render distance. Anyways,
I don't know.
so
Anyway, we've become a Tarkov lore podcast. Um,
here's what I was gonna say. Back at customs, like,
derailed slightly, talking about trains. How
hey,
ironic.
derailed. Hey, I see what you did there.
So yeah,
So look,
that's gonna be Lighthouse. It's gonna be off to the side.
you could go interchange. You could take, because that's the thing. They wanted to take all the trains and have them all be working. So you could have like this customs, like this hub world where you could go interchange on the train by Big Red. You could go factory through customs and get the woods, and then you could go to gas station where they got the train. You could take that train to reserve, and then potentially take the train from reserve to Lighthouse, dude. It all connects, dude. How cool would that be?
Imagine they release Streets and then they're just like, you guys have just been like debated for like 8 years, and it's actually just Train Simulator 2022. We're taking all the guns out. Have a great time.
You just have one guy that's like in the just his job is just to pull the lever to change the tracks back and forth.
Yeah, it's Prapor. Skier
Oh,
comes around
that's
and collects the
funny.
tickets.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my goodness. Oh my
No, but
goodness.
I can totally see it. I mean, it's a lot of foresight. So the trains. Let's talk more about the trains. No, I'm kidding. So the one thing I did want to say, we saw the train in the footage of the teaser trailer. Getting back on topic here.
Yeah, yeah.
There was a helicopter that had green lights. Now you know what the color green means. Obviously, that's an extract. I mean, extract confirmed. What? Do you even have to ask? Clearly, that's a helicopter extract. Was there anything else that caught your eye map wise in the video?
Ooh, maps wise, no, not specifically. As I said, I'm kind of like waiting to see what happens. I actually probably paid the map itself like less attention than I
Hmm.
should, other than the stretch of land going to the lighthouse itself, which seems like kind of cool with the sniper and the in-raid trader and stuff,
Hmm.
which we know isn't coming with this patch. Um,
Right.
Other than that, which I guess like for now it's just like locked off. There's the gates, they're sealed. I imagine you probably. I don't think you'll even be shot. You just can't go in at
Yeah,
all. I
I think
imagine.
so.
Um, so yeah, other than that, I don't know really. It looks like yes, it looks like it's gonna be a nice mix of different areas. Some like cool indoor industrial stuff, like some outdoor bits. There's like the villas and that like posh section. I don't know what that is going to be exactly yet, but we'll find out, I'm sure. Um, but it looks sick, man. It looks sick. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I wonder what's going to happen with tunnel. I wonder what's going to happen with the tunnel extract.
Yeah. Oh, it's confirmed as the extract now?
Well, as in from shoreline, I mean. I
Oh, from
imagine tunnel will be
Shoreline.
a shoreline. It's got to be an
See,
extract.
that
If
was
it's
kind of my thought, is that would link to Lighthouse, right? That
It will,
tunnel.
I'm pretty sure it will. I'm almost certain it will. I'd say I'm
Yeah.
95% confident that it will, based on
It's
my understanding of the map.
Man, this is so much fun talking about this stuff and speculating. Can't wait to find out, dude.
Yeah, it's going
Um,
to be cool. Can you imagine if they open it out, the tunnel's just
yeah,
open.
that'd be cool. That'd be real cool.
It's like rock blasted by USEC or something. They clear it out with like dynamite or whatever.
So we got some new guns and some new equipment teasers. Now we could talk a little about the guns. I mean, I think it was there was this tan gun that kind of caught everyone off guard, and I think it's been identified as the G28. I'm not. Is it the
Yeah, it's like the
G28?
DMR that came. Yeah, it was everyone's saying like, oh, it's got HK on the receiver. I'm no expert, so I'm
Hmm.
just going off of what the community said. People have said it's the 762 version of the HK DMR, which is like the G28, which is a accurate DMR. I mean, it sounds like
Yeah,
RSAS SR25. Like, I
yeah,
don't
yeah,
think it's going
yeah.
to be practically that much different to those others, but who knows? I mean, the thing about those guns is what will really matter and what will make it meta or not, I honestly think, is whether it has 30 round mags or not. If it has the idea for bigger mags, it'll be kind of meta, like the M1A. and the SC58 sort of was. I mean, it depends because they've kind of hit those with the they've hit those with the ergo stick. So I don't know. I like the SR, but look, if it has like 30s on it, then I think it'll be good and it'll be used as long as it's not like insanely expensive. I think that's the problem with the RSAS. It's just insanely expensive. You don't find it enough. It's expensive on the flea, and for the utility, you don't really get much out of it that you don't get with the other guns. I think that's kind of the problem. M1A is still so cheap. The SR25 honestly is really actually quite cheap for what it is. And the MDR 762 is also really cheap, so relatively, it's a great gun. So we'll see. Maybe it won't get used that much. I don't know. And then also, not to mention that it's probably going to get overshadowed by the Scar H anyway, which is coming. And I think that one was shown in black, and the Scar L, the 5.56 one, was shown in like tan FDE in the tan version, which I was watching Voxy's video actually, and he was just like, oh, maybe it'll be like the MDR where the 762 one is the black one, and maybe the the 5.56 one is the tan one. And I was like, yeah, I can see that. Like they like to make a distinction, it seems, between the two. Maybe they've got that in mind for people who aren't like full gun crazy, and it's like nice to make that distinction on because I imagine I'm pretty sure you'd be able to have both in either variant, right, in real life. But in the game is kind of like we don't really have that sort of we don't have like skins for different parts or skins for different guns or whatever. You kind of have each skin or version is kind of its own version, whereas with the gun it doesn't make as much sense because like the lowers are like unique. Does that make sense? I don't know. It's like maybe they like it to make a distinction in that way, to make it a little bit more accessible. But yeah, those probably get overshadowed by the Scar, I think, just because people have been waiting for it for so long. And yeah, a lot of people just didn't really know what HK that even was. I think only the specialists really could identify it. But that's cool. That's cool. And there's like a few other cool optics that are coming in. Don't think that's really going to change the game in any way. We already have enough optics that you can kind of do everything you want. It's nice to get extra stuff. Really, I'm not, more power to them to put more things in. I don't think it'll change the game fundamentally at all. The same goes with the little Russian red dot reflexy type sights that are going into. It's more, it's sort of more choice, which is fine. But I almost feel like with the rework that they did, it could you could probably bring more choice in by doing the rework again and actually rework them rather than.
We've talked about this before.
We've talked about this before, but it's kind of like we just pushed people from one set of optics now to another set of optics, and you know what? That's fine. Like maybe that's okay. It's interesting actually. I've been using the PKO 6 and the actually reasonable amount since it was nerfed because it's actually now like super cheap, and everybody really bashes it, and the sight's not amazing, but at close range it's great. It's really good to put on like an MP7 or something. I was using it on MP7 a lot. It's like 7K, 8K, and all you need is a vaguely fuzzy dot to aim at someone's thorax and just go with the MP7. That's all you need.
Yeah,
that's all you need.
I think the biggest letdown for the rework is I felt like a lot of the sights, reflex sights especially, they either got worse, like blurry, or they got visually better, but there was just like tons of like reticle sway, I guess you would call it.
Yeah.
Which I don't know the logistics or like the real life implications or how all that comes together, but yeah, I don't know. So
I've never used a holographic reflex or red dot in real life, but from knowing how they work, I don't think that should happen. From what I understand, especially not like because these things, especially not like the collimator type optics, because they're supposed to like the technical speak, they're supposed to be like a point at infinity. So even if you move your head, the point should still stay, other than some like parallax issues, like the point should stay on the point where you're aiming, even if you move your head slightly, which is why they're so cool, because they effectively they project a point at an infinite distance away, which is like I really like the way they work is actually really cool. Anybody who's like, isn't like an expert on fire, like I ended up spending loads of time on the wiki, like reading about them. It's like, it's sick how it works. Actually, it's a really interesting principle. But it's like, clever mirrors to get you like a point projected at infinity, so that no matter how you move your head, like the point is always stays on like the same place in the distance. It's like it's really neat. So I don't think that should happen like it does.
But it
But maybe
does.
those scopes are cheap and don't use the same principle. They're like, I don't know, just I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know enough about how each of the individual optics works to be able to make a determination.
Yeah, but if you do sort of get out the frame a bit, like you're saying, it yes, it's infinite, but like it does some sort of weird thing, and maybe it's the word parallaxing you use. I'm not too sure on that definition, but you know what I mean. Like
Yeah.
there is
In Tarkov in real life.
in real life, my understanding. Like you have to
Yeah.
be
So
in the right position to have it centered how it should be. You know what I mean? Your eye has to be in the right position.
yeah,
So
it does for sure. So like if you're taking like what are they called? They're like the XP blah 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 whatever. So, you know, like the
XP
ones
for
in the box, the
XPS,
ones in
yeah,
the
yeah,
little
yeah.
box, right? Yeah, those
XPS
ones. And
0, yeah.
they're really good. And they've got the little ring and the dot.
The EOTech,
You know,
yes.
those guys. The EOTech ones, yeah, the EOTech ones, thank you. Um so I'm saying red dots don't project a point like a hollow sight does, which is probably the thing. That's probably
Huh.
the difference, right? Because like so a hollow like that, so long as you're still looking through, so long as it is still possible for you to view the holographic projection,
Uh-huh.
then it will be on the point where it's supposed to be, if you know what I mean. It's like if
Yes,
you, if you
yes.
took the gun sideways, obviously you can't
Right,
see
you
it
can't
because you're
see
not
it.
looking in it anymore.
Yes.
So like as you bring it across, you
You
have to be
start to
looking
see it.
through the box of the optic, but it
Mhm.
should be in the right place. Like right on the edge, there's issues just because like lenses, lenses are problematic, but and mirrors. There's just optics is just weird. But yeah, so that's as someone saying that red dots don't project to points. That's probably why they suck. And I don't know enough about that. I only really know about the holographic principle, which as I
Okay,
said is
okay.
super cool. But maybe that's why they changed it, because the hollows are now really good, right? And a lot of the red dots, like
Yeah.
the Walther MRS, are now really rubbish, and the point floats around all over the place. I don't know whether
Well
that's realistic. I don't know. I just can't.
well
Really? Is that really
well,
the way it
if
works? Like,
if
surely
you think
not.
about it, alright, so you got like a laser, that's like a couple inches or centimeters away that's shooting a light onto a lens, okay? So if you're looking at it, right, and you tilt your gun just slightly, like, 1.5 degrees to the right, you are sort of like tilting the laser too a bit, you know what I mean?
I
Like
have to go and look
the
up how it
sight
works.
the sight's angled. I don't know. I kind of see what they're going for, but I just don't like it. I don't like it. I don't know.
Yeah, it
I don't
floats
know.
too much and it feels
It's
rubbish.
what's happened, okay, is essentially the only site I used is Geotech. That's literally the only site. That and maybe a Voodoo. Every other thing, garbage, dude,
Delta
garbage.
Point is still good. Do not just
Okay,
saying the Delta
Delta
Point is
Point,
still good.
yeah, I use a Delta Point too, but
People don't like the triangle, but I don't mind the triangle. I think it's okay,
it's
but it doesn't
okay.
float about.
It doesn't
So
float. You're 100% right,
so
and that
it's
might
good.
be is that a fault of the rework? Is that not realistic, like we're discussing? I don't know. Who knows?
I don't know.
Who
I don't know.
knows?
Anyway,
Yes,
what are your thoughts? Let's just jump straight
sure.
to
Speed
the
round.
impact grenade.
So, as you were
What do you think
saying,
about that?
you sort of said earlier, like, yeah, none of this stuff really changes anything. It's not a big change. I was about to be like, except for this impact grenade.
Oh no, we couldn't possibly put cooking grenades in the game because it would be way too. Oh, hang on a sec. Let's just put an impact one instead, which takes less skill and does basically the same thing.
So there's tons of ways they can make this balance. Okay, this thing could be, 100,000 rubles. It could be really expensive, right? It could be really rare. It could be like insane crafting components. There's 1,000 ways till Friday they could balance this. Maybe I don't know how the thing works. Honestly, I mean, it might obviously when it hits something of enough force, it explodes. But what happens if you throw it over a long distance? Well, is it a dud? Like I don't know. Maybe who knows? There's so many things they could do. We'll have to see how it pans out. Most likely, it's gonna be meta. Okay, it's the new VOG 25, but better. Most likely. Like, come on, let's be real here. But they could balance it. I'm not totally opposed to it.
Yeah. We'll see. They could balance it. How about you get a free one every time you buy the KS23? How about that? How about that? That sounds
They,
great, doesn't it?
Of course, they cut the KS23 and they cut the impact grenade. A few frames later. Of course, they cut those two together. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know if they did that or not.
Did you see One Peg's thing on Twitter he put
I
out
did.
with the
The dual KS23
with the double KS23 akimbo
Modern Warfare
poster that he
2.
made?
Yeah.
Oh my god, that
God.
honestly made me laugh so much. Oh, everybody's using the KS. Everyone's using the KS. It's super good. So I don't know. Yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see whether
What are your
that
thoughts on
works.
it? Is that what you're going with?
The nade on the
Yeah.
nade. Oh well, I don't know. I just think I just feel that it either will be. I just feel like it's so hard to make it right.
Mm-hmm.
It's either going to be like absurdly broken or completely useless. Do you know what I mean? Like it's going to be one or the other. I just feel like it's so hard. It's either going to like, oh, if it's killing everybody, it will like change the damage on it or something, and then like, oh well, now it doesn't kill people in one hit anymore, even if you like basically hit them with it, so no one will use it. It's like I feel like it's so binary. It's so fine, like such a fine line to make it function.
Would you say there's Would you say there's enough of a difference between RGD5 and an F1 grenade, in your opinion?
I mean, right now, no. There's almost no difference. There's really no reason to use the F1s at the moment, as far as I'm concerned.
A difference between those? No, not between those two. Those two versus a VOG 17. Do they feel the same?
Yes, they're different. They're different enough.
Okay,
they're different enough, I think.
Okay,
just partly just because of the timer, like the fuse.
Exactly, that's my point. The way the nades work is like all the other stats don't really matter, but when I press G, how long does it take for the thing to go boom? And so it's like, let me just mash G because the animation's so quick. So if the animation's quick and you have an impact grenade, dude, you could just be outside of dorms with like 8 impact grenades, be like, oh, there's a window there. Boom. Oh, there's a window there. Boom. And just like blow up everyone inside any room. Like I kind of feel like maybe they need to relook at the animation part. Like maybe there needs to be, I don't know. This is wild. We're going off trail, but
yeah. I mean, lots of people have said though that they think that grenades should be key bound, pulled out, and thrown manually. I agree. Honestly, I agree. Have you ever tried this? By the way, I saw this on someone else's stream and put it in one of my like hotkeys things. In that, if you just drop your weapon and get rid of everything, like holding nothing, you can spam grenades. Like honestly, it's absurd. Like it's actually ridiculous because you don't have the animation. No animations. You're just like,
oh my god,
and you can just carpet bomb. Like it's ridiculous. It's actually ridiculous.
Giga, you just created the new meta before the patch even came out.
We
thought naked KS23 was crazy. Naked impact grenades, dude. You just go in naked, spamming impact grenades. Oh my god, dude!
It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy. Look, we're gonna have to see how much these things cost. Hopefully, they'll balance it in some way. But
yeah,
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
What about the I don't know if it's been confirmed, but it looks like a flashbang grenade potentially. The new one, not.
Yes, a new one. I can't remember which one it is. It looks like the one. I mean, I don't know anything about these utility things. It looks like the one in Counter Strike. This is what I thought when I saw it. I was like, oh, it looks like the CS Flash. I don't really know how this is going to differ to the Zarya. I don't know. I guess it will be better, bigger. Maybe it'll give more kind of like, even if it doesn't flash you, maybe it'll give more of like the ringing and like the woozy kind of regardless of whether like you look at it or not, which I think would be kind of cool. And to have them a bit more expensive. I think that'd be all right. Like they're supposed to be used for like clearing rooms and that kind of thing. It'd be nice to have another utility tool for it that isn't useless like the Zarya and isn't just like this thing blows up. It'd be nice to have something that's a bit better than that.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Zarya, aka let me bring this for the Jaeger quest on factory.
Exactly, which has now just been replaced wholesale with the flash round from the KS, because that's how I've done it the last 2 wipes. It's just run in and then flash someone and then bam, shoot them, and it's just like,
It would
oh,
be
quest complete.
nice to have a smoke grenade that had like a fast, like one of the metal ones, like Counter-Strike kind of. Anyways,
It really would. The fast smoke grenade would be awesome. I
yeah.
would love all the different grenades like in Squad where they've got all the different colors because that's actually really
Okay.
sick. Like it's really really cool. Like when you've got all different colors of smoke, it's I kind of didn't really think about it until I played that game and I was like, oh, it's so cool to have all different colors of smoke actually. Just like I don't know, it just feels sort of immersive and neat.
Hmm.
Although, yeah, no, it would be good. It'd be cool. Oh man, I'm hyped for it. I'm hyped for it. It's gonna be good. So yeah, I don't know if the flash grenade will really change too much.
Sure.
But then there was the other two things that were in, which is the
Yeah.
revolver shotgun and the double barrel
Mm.
shotgun, right? Which were both in as well. And yeah, we're gonna have to see what happens with that. I guess revolver shotgun is going to be kind of like the 153, I suppose, in sort
Well,
of function.
I think it was maybe Pastilli. He said that uses the gauge that the frickin' Taz uses.
Oh, interesting.
S- which assuming that's true, that is interesting. I mean, there's a couple interesting Taz rounds. There's like the Devastator Slug, and I think there's even a Star round. It's not a flash one, but there's some
Oh yeah,
interesting.
I got baited by that one time, and I was like, "Oh, a star rat is like finding raid." I was like, "Oh my goodness, I'm gonna make an absolute fortune!" And then I was like, "Oh no, it's a like little Toz star rat, not a 4 gauge." It's just very very sad. Actually, you
But
can't like. I never really look at it because it's only the Toz that uses these
right,
guys,
and
right?
now we got a bit of an upgrade. Now you got a revolver shotgun,
Hmm. I mean, the
which I
highest pen one is 17, which is the Paleva 6U slug.
yeah, not that great. But there's some
No,
high
the
damage ones.
Devastators, yeah, Devastator's 195 for the slug, which is okay, but it's like still a 3 shot. So I just don't think that's necessarily
Yeah, that's kind of meh.
worth it. I mean, what's the highest damage one in there? It's like, see, the pellets don't do that much damage. This is the problem, right? There's
It's
just
just kind of
really
underwhelming.
like, oh yeah, there's really just like cracked up stuff in the 12 gauge bucket, which just make it insane, right? It's like Magnum Buck with
Yeah.
8 by 50. It's just mental. Like nothing even comes close. Like the 5.6 mil buckshot is like 8 by 26. And there's a 9 by 23, an 8 by 25. Like nothing really comes close in that category. I don't know.
And that's
I think
sort of
that's the issue.
my next question is with the double barrel, can you load in Magnum Buck? Can you load in AP-20s? I don't think you can load in AP-20s. I don't like slugs. I don't know if you can load in slugs. I don't
I
know.
have no idea. I don't. I wouldn't be surprised if you can. Can you imagine though, double barrel with Magnum buckshot? That's
It's
actually
it's
pretty disgusting.
it sounds pretty viable to me. Like, dude, really cheap
It,
Chad killer, like because I'm assuming you can get a scav Magnum Buck that's like, sawed off double barrel, and then you just load 2 rounds of Magnum Buck. It's like a scav gun, but it's firing Magnum Buck at your legs. I don't know.
yeah, exactly.
I really
Because
like the
Magnum buck does a
scav.
lot of damage. You know.
Yeah, yeah. Because what you need 2. How many pellets do you need in total to kill?
What with Magnum is quite a lot. It is quite a lot. You
It's
need because it's
50.
eight by. Oh, you can't actually do it in one shot. Yeah, it's 400 for
So you
all
need
eight.
9. You need 9
So
pellets.
you need nine. You need nine.
Okay. Boom,
But yeah,
boom.
9 across 16
Right.
is
That's pretty
much more of
good.
a yeah. That's
Yeah.
much more compelling than having to hit them properly with.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, it's crazy. But yeah, this is the thing. Someone actually posted it in chat, and I was about to mention it. Can you fire both barrels simultaneously? We do
That's.
not know.
I'm
We do not know.
assuming that you will have really high. Because my understanding is like you pull the trigger. There's like 2 phases. Sometimes there's 2 triggers, but there's usually like 2 phases, like left barrel, right barrel. So you could like you can't fire them at the same time, but you sort of like fire them almost back to back. So if it's like that, dude, and it's just like as fast as you can click, it's just gonna like it's gonna
Yeah,
feel like one spray, but we'll see.
I think probably not, but we'll see. But who knows? Who
Who
knows?
knows?
It might it might be great. It might be great.
I
I
I
think it's
like
kind of interesting how much cheap stuff's coming in. Sorry, what were you going to say?
I was just yeah, exactly. I like the scav guns. I like this stuff, like the PPSH. You know what I mean? When that came out, I was like, "Oh, dude, this is so cool."
With the
I kind of
drum.
like, I like feeling immersed in scav life. It's nice. Yeah.
I like that there's a lot of options for really cheap stuff, and actually a lot of them are shotguns. And with shotguns getting, I was
Hmm.
actually talking about this with someone the other day because there was a comment somebody had made about shotguns, and yeah, they were just talking about how they're basically viable all the way through the wipe. And I was like, you're probably kind of right. Like I've never really mained shotguns, but you could if you wanted to. You
In
actually could, and they're
theory,
really cheap. They're actually really super cheap all the way through, and they're they're not like full meta, but for the price and the utility you get out of them,
yeah,
they're decent. And the usual engagement range in EFT as well.
yeah,
They're very good. So we'll see. But yeah, it's nice to get some more of the like lower grade stuff. We have so many options on like the high end.
yeah, yeah.
Probably too much actually. The game's probably almost
Probably.
too high end like orientated, and there's not enough stuff at the bottom end because you either just end up with like some AK and it doesn't matter which because they all look the same and you're using like irons with the scav. So it doesn't matter if it's got like rail or the stock folds or not is fixed. Like it hardly matters at the bottom end, right? When you're not modding it and you're playing as a scav. All that really matters is whether it's 556, sorry, 545 or 762. And then
Hmm.
you just got like SKS, MOSIN, those kind of things, VPO,
Yeah.
um, PPSH. I don't know. It's not like there's a
Some
decent amount of stuff, but there's
pistols.
not. Yeah, some pistols. Like there's not loads. So I quite like and shotguns. It's cool because shotguns are sort of the ultimate equalizer because yeah, hardly anyone's wearing a face shield these days. Like people wearing Altin, sure, but like if someone's wearing an Altin, you die. But less people are just wearing like generic um, generic like all-purpose like multi-hit face shields. I found, and it's because of the samples quest, right? It's pain in the ass to do. I didn't finish it, and it's really the only way to get them on the cheap.
Samples?
Yeah, Peacekeeper samples. That's the only way you can buy the multi-hit ballistic face shield. It's locked behind that
Oh,
quest.
doing the samples. Yeah, yeah, I got you. Yeah,
Exactly,
yeah, yeah.
exactly. I didn't do it. Lots of other people
Yeah, I
couldn't be
didn't do it
bothered to go and
either.
find it. Like you either have to get great RNG with your scavs, or you go
Right.
to labs, or you run like Sanitar's Room or Resort. Like none of those things are things that really I was doing that much, and so
Hmm.
I just never did it. And so shotguns just continue to be scary because so long as you're not using flechette rounds, any pellet that hits you anywhere near the center of your face, you die.
Yeah.
It's like it's a great equalizer.
Yeah.
It's a great equalizer. It just takes one. It's just one shot. That's it.
Yeah.
And you get like 8 or 9. It's cool. I don't know. I'm borderline tempted to just like main shotguns this wipe and just see what happens. I don't know. We'll see.
That'd be pretty
We'll
cool.
see. It would be
Sounds like
cool.
fun.
I was wondering how that would work like really early because yeah, no one's wearing like whether you go for like is it even worth going for like meta super early or if like someone's at like
Um,
medium distance, you could just go for headshots and then if they're
that's
close,
the
you go for legs.
thing. You kind of like gamble, like like let's say they got pack up penis helmet.
Mm.
I think their ears exposed, so you could get an ear, you could get a face, and you're not gonna get through the Paco. Like that thing's way
No.
too absorbent. You arms are gonna tank a bit. I mean, like in theory, you could like just you could go for the accurate leg shots, quote unquote, or you could just go for like, let me just put them into submission from all these pellets coming at them. Maybe you'll score a headshot. I don't know, it's interesting.
Yeah, yeah. I might try
Interesting.
it and then sort of see because that's the thing. It's like you just spray them enough with some of these. Because even honestly,
Pepper them down.
even the basic shotgun shell
It's not that bad. Yeah.
is not that bad. I think. Can you buy? I wonder when you can buy Express because Express is actually pretty neat. You can buy
Yeah.
Express at Jaeger One.
Oh, that's huge. I'm a big
I
fan of
mean,
Express.
Express is
So,
good. The nine rounds, and it's actually not that terrible either.
well, yeah,
Because
because you
if you
get,
hit
yeah,
yeah,
go
it's like
ahead.
315 is the total damage. Like Magnum Buck is 400. Like it's not that far off.
Because Express one pellet can still kill you in the head, right? It's 35
Hmm.
damage.
Hmm.
And you get an extra pellet. It has some accuracy buffs, so it's a bit
Hmm.
more accurate. Yeah, it's like it's a
And you don't get the plus 115
right. You
recoil
don't get the
percent that
added
you do from
recoil.
Magnum.
Yeah, yeah. I'm a big fan of
Indeed.
it. Express and a Sega shotgun. I haven't done it since they reworked the camera recoil and some of the other things. I think it's changed a bit. But it used to be
Yeah,
you
that's
could
true.
put Express in a Sega shotgun and just spam mouse one and baby that thing. Like if you caught them, man, they were just like you said, no face shield. Oh yeah, man. I used to when you have the quest, what is it called? Decontamination interchange. You got to wear the mask
Yeah.
and the white armor. I used to take a Sega with like a 10 rounder mag and just go and interchange. And if I come across a player, just like spray and pray. Maybe I get him, maybe I don't. But you could come up big. It was fun. Good times.
Super good. Super good. So yeah, we're gonna have to see what happens with that really. I think the only other thing they showed was the USP pistol.
Yeah, that's about it. No.
Yeah, which is cool. And there's like a whole bunch of other gear, armor, and other stuff, which, I don't think that those things really change too much. It's just like more stuff. That's cool.
Mhm.
More things, more alternatives. That's nice. I wish I wish that there was an opportunity to kind of rebalance some of these items. Like as I've been running through doing like the level 5 armor guide, level 6 armor guide, this kind
Yeah.
of thing. It's sort of like highlighted some areas of the meta which are just kind of like black pockets of just like no one ever used them because like either they're like only finding raid and they're not on
Traders.
traders, or they're only on traders they never found in raid and they're so expensive on the trader that no one ever buys them. It's a little bit
Yeah.
like us, but like so I was looking at the Osprey rigs, and they're just like arms and
Yeah.
thorax, no stomach,
It's kind of a weird thing, right?
level 5, like really expensive.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like
Locked behind a
really.
quest.
Yeah, Lock Behind Quest 2, like it's just nuts. There's
Yeah.
quite a few of those, which I'm like, but I also don't want them to waste their time rebalancing too much now. Once everything's in, then
Sure.
sorted out and stuff. But yeah, there are some sort of holes in the variability. It's like
100%.
it's all well and good adding all these things, but then if they're all if like half of them are just like not really usable because they're either the stats are crazy or they're locked behind stupid traders, whatever. It's like, when I was looking at helmets and I was like, I honestly can't remember the last time I saw someone wearing a Vulcan, and they're really expensive on the fleet because they just never get dropped. They're not on any traders. It's like, what? Well, you find them in the box like 0.001% of the time, and then no one someone buys it because they think, oh, that's kind of funny because it's level 6. And other than that, it's just a novelty and sort of a meme. I've never seen anyone with a Vulcan on.
It's a rubles per slot item. I mean, it's great when you find the cash. You know what I mean? But otherwise,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
just
And
it's
I think it's
useless.
purely down to like scarcity and rarity, though the price of that item rather than like utility. There's enough people thinking, this is kind of interesting and a bit novel, versus like no one finding them that keeps the prices that high. If they were like remotely common in any way, like if they're found like a bit more, they'd just like be worth almost nothing. I think,
Well,
other than just like resale value to the trader.
that's what I was gonna say. I think the trader pays 90K or like 100K selling it to
Yeah,
them.
so
Like
it won't go down below that.
you get so much money from it, even if you don't even sell it from the flea market. Um,
Mm.
but it's like the players, the actual value that the player's seeing it is just like nothing, dude. Like I said, it's a ruble per slot item. So yeah, I hope for a balance patch at some point. It would be nice. But there's a lot of things coming. Inertia to change
Yeah,
things up a bit. Armor hit zones, advanced hit zones, armor plates. That's going to change everything up. So
eventually.
recoil is supposedly going to get reworked. I mean, that's going to change things up
Yeah,
too.
I don't know exactly how that's going to change stuff. I think they're just getting rid of some. I don't that's not coming now, is it? I think they said
No.
they were trying to do it, but then they were like ran into some issues. I can't remember who I
Yes.
was listening to was saying that.
Yeah.
That they ran into some problems. It was harder to fix than they thought. But I think it's kind of cool that they're doing it. The inertia thing, like there was a lot of chat actually about like people sliding in the video, whether there's going to be like
Yeah.
more sliding and stuff. But I mean that's just like the way it will be. Slowing down, you won't be able to slow down immediately. That's just the way inertia kind of works. It'll be like when
Yeah.
it's sort of similar like to when you're super overweight. You can't stop instantaneously as soon as you want
Yeah.
anymore. You have to
Yep.
kind
Yep.
of like slow down.
Right.
So there will be sort of it's not really a slide, but it's kind of a I guess if you're sprinting and you try to stop suddenly, then yeah, it'll be more of a slide. But
Hmm.
I don't know. We're gonna have to see like the animations they put in for that and like how long it takes to stop. Can you imagine if you like skidded on gravel kind of thing if you're trying to stop? It'd be kind of
Be
sick.
pretty cool. Yeah.
So
Skirt.
yeah,
Pull up. My double
exactly.
barrels. Skirt.
Because that thing exists already at the moment, but it's just kind of awkwardly implemented, right? It's if
Right.
you just let go, you do the scav slide because
Yeah.
no one does the no one does the slide except for scavs. sprinting, and then you just let go of the keyboard, and no one makes that noise. Everybody either undoes run, or like I do, I just strafe out of it, just because like it just depends on how your muscle memory ends up working. Nobody does the slide. Actually, there was one other thing. There was the face painting, potentially, like the face camo, which people seem to have spotted in the video, but no one's really sure. Because there's lots of face camo in the Raid series. So it'd be kind of cool if that came now as well. I don't know, really.
I could see it as like it's an equipable item
thing, maybe, or an equipable item. I don't know really. Maybe it will negate some of the requirements for using a balaclava continuously. That's the problem, I recommend everybody to always use face covering of any kind, because otherwise it's just like PMC face out of the bush. It's just crazy.
Yeah,
it's so obvious. Like people are so used to looking for those faces too. That's like a whole other conversation topic, but for another time. But it is interesting just how the human brain kind of like gets used to certain things. It's one of the reasons why I think like penis helmets like actually very counterproductive, because people are so used to looking for it. It's like so iconic that people like pattern match really quickly with it and spot you more easily than like with the rat neck and that kind of thing.
That's actually interesting. Yeah.
It's the same thing as with the PMC face. Like the PMC face, you'd notice from like, once you've played for a while, you can tell that they're PMC from a scav very easily, actually.
Yeah.
From a close-ish distance anyway. But I don't know, if you have some war paint
face
on,
covering,
then you maybe you'll be able to sit in a bush without having to have a balaclava on. It looks kind of cooler, right? Like everybody wearing like the basic balaclava from Ragman is fine, but it feels kind of more like, I don't know, more cool and like more like warlike, more stylish to be having like the camo and that kind of. It's one of the reasons why I quite like using the shamars, because it's like that's sort of the marker. You've got like the sort of sniper head covering wrap, right? And it's like, I've moved on from the Momex balaclava. I'm now into the shawls. They're just kind of neat.
Or you could just see another ghost face mask, Andy.
Yeah. No, I was a green shamar guy, and I changed over to the brown shamar this wipe, and I love it. It's just part of my style. I'm not really a huge, I'm not big into the styling, but
before. Yeah,
it's neat. And they're like 4K rather than like 1.5K. So I'm just like, that's definitely like for 2.5K, we'll get some style points in. It's good.
No, yeah, I heard some others. I watched some other people, and they were like, potentially that's just where I think it was Landmark. Actually, he was like, I think maybe they just had God mode on, and he got shot in the face. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I'm down for it. I'm not saying it shouldn't be added or whatever, but I did want to get your thoughts real quick here. I mean, by the time this goes out, the patch may be live, so this might be a little irrelevant, but do you have any predictions for the economy? Do you think they're going to change progression at all? Because it was sort of teased by Nikita, I believe, that the guides will need to be redone. I'm pretty sure in the community podcast he said that. I could be remembering wrong. So I'm interested if what you think may or may not be changed.
I think that they will shake up the hideout, at least for some of the. I think some of the crafts will stay the same. I think some will change. One of my predictions, which I actually think it's not really a prediction, it's more of a this might happen, is that quests with find and raid items may be randomized. I don't know, like that's not been teased anywhere really, but they have the ability with the daily tasks thing to change it so that rather than needing to, everyone needs slayers for therapists. Some people need car kits, some people need IFAK, some people need, alu splints, whatever. Like, I think that's possible. I don't think it's necessarily likely, but it's possible. Because that would really mix up the early game. It means people wouldn't be able to save items for future quests, which I can imagine is probably something that Nikita would like to. So, like mechanic, or maybe even in your hideout, maybe your hideout would need different items depending on who you are. Some people would really get the short end of the deal, but I don't know. Well, we'll just have to see. We'll have to see. But that's how it works for the daily tasks, and I can imagine a way of them putting that in place, so that not everyone has the same thing, and you don't know what you're going to get, so you can't just like preload all the items in, because that's kind of what people do now, right?
That's the meta,
know all the items all the way through to level 40 quests and stuff of what items you're going to need, and just start farming them from day one. So maybe for that, I think that's low percentage chance, but maybe. The economy, I think it's all going. The critical part for me is what level the flea market is going to be. It was 20. It was changed to 15. From what I've read, people seem to think it's going to stay at 15.
Sure.
I'm not sure. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes. I know. So the thing is, I didn't see the sources firsthand, but I saw some people saying that, like, oh, Nikita said he changed it because it was a good idea to kind of make it a bit easier for people. And he's always said, give and take. It was 10, and we made it 20. Maybe that was a bit too much, so we put it back to 15. So maybe that's just where they'll keep it for now. I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised if it ends up being like 25.
Really?
I wouldn't be surprised at the beginning, and maybe they like scale it even more. So they start off at 25, and after the first month it goes to 20, and then after 3 months it goes to 15, something like that. I don't know, because that would sort of help mitigate the everybody rushes in at the beginning and tries to do the stuff. Level 20 this time was actually really fun if you were playing right from the beginning of the wipe. It was then much less fun for people coming a month in, and people coming 3 months in, it's just like completely awful.
Yeah.
And so to kind of counter that, the wipe cycle itself, you can almost like make it really hard for people who start right at the start, and then really scale it back for people who come in later. I think that makes sense. I think that makes sense. So I don't know. We'll see. So it all depends on that, right? Because that level dictates so much about what items are like expensive early or not. Like with the flea at 10, light bulbs and all that other stuff is like crazy at the beginning.
Yes.
With the flea at 20, other things are expensive. Not as much. Nothing's like crazy because it spreads the player base out so much. Because like at level 10, it's like everyone starts at level 1, and then the player base, the bell curve of levels hits 10, and everyone's still quite tight. Whereas like by the time they got to 20, it's like so much more spread out. People don't all need the items at the same time. Everybody gets to the level 20 flea with a glut of items. There's loads of items. Everyone's got so many because everyone wants to offload.
Yeah.
And there's not that many people who want them because most people have got the stuff that they already needed. And so they just need to like trade for a few fringe things that they didn't get on RNG. And so just like compress the market for a while, and then everything sort of restabilized again. So yeah, I think it really depends on what level the flea market is. Honestly, I really think it all is all dictated by that. I really do. But I don't think it'll be that much different to how it is now. Broadly, I can't think of like any reason why, unless they put something crazy in place. I don't like all the items kind of have a use now. Like unless they shake up some of the items that you need for certain quests or items that you need for the hideout, I don't think it'll be much different.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to say. It's hard to say. I mean, I think the economy will look a lot like it did at the beginning of this wipe. If it's sort of anywhere between like level 20, 25, I think it'll look very similar. People kind of playing hardcore at the start. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking 15 is probably where they're gonna keep it at and see how it goes. And like you said, probably some new hideout stuff. The quest thing is interesting because I could totally see them doing it. I don't know if they would, but that's an interesting solution to to sort of help improve the experience, make it feel a bit more unique. You're like, oh, last swipe I had to find 3, you know, army bandages. This wipe now I got to find a ALU splint or whatever. So
Yeah.
it'd be interesting, and then like you said, sort of counteracts that planning and preparing phase for speed running the progression.
No, exactly. I mean, yeah, so some people are saying in chat, people who grind hard enough early will hit the flea, whether it's 15, 20, or 25. And that's absolutely true. That's 100% correct. And that's totally true. But it's not about those people really. It's about kind of the average player.
The average,
this is actually a really good segue into something that we can, we're probably running over time like way like crazy today, but that's fine. There's loads to talk about. But I put a post up on or a poll up on my YouTube. I wanted to see what level everyone had got to by the end of the wipe because I think it's kind of interesting to see. Let me just give it a quick refresh, but I imagine it won't have changed very much. It's actually a really nice like bell curve, like proper curve. And I kind of like set the levels out so that would happen, and it did. But yeah, so like people up to level 15, it's 12%. Surprisingly high number given where we are in the wipe. There's new people coming in. 16 to 29, which basically I was like, okay, this is people with the flea, but they don't have mechanic 3. Is 16 to 29 or 15 to 29? I should have put 15, but whatever. No one's counting. That's 25% of people. So far
a decent chunk.
So we've engaged 37% of people, and that's people who don't have mechanic 3. Then the lion's share between 30 and 41. So people who have mechanic 3 but not Ragman 4.
Oh, okay.
And that's 39%. And I'm in there, right? I'm right at the top end. I'm at level 41, but I'm in that category too. And then 42 to 50 is 19. So basically anyone who's got level 4 traders but isn't like sweating for Kappa. And then 51 plus is 6%. So, looking at that, right, it's like we're talking about the end of the wipe, and nearly 40% of players didn't make it to level 30 within my community.
Nearly 40, yeah.
Which is, I
that's
reckon that my community probably is skewed lower down the distribution than the average Tarkov player, I would guess, if I was to try and make an estimate of like the statistical bias for this. But yeah, look, I don't know. It's it's one of those crazy things where sorry, you had an interruption there for a sec.
Yeah, sorry. Oh, I forgot. I didn't mute. I muted my stream, but not Discord. So.
Oh, fine. No worries.
My bad.
No worries.
I forgot.
That's all good. Yeah, and so I don't know. Some people are going to get to the flea no matter what, but I think it's more about like the average player experience and how quickly the community as a whole gets there, and that's what's going to dictate the economy too, right? That's why it's important, because the whole question started was what's the predictions for the economy, and that's why it's important, because it doesn't matter if 2% of the player base get to the flea market within the first 3 days. What matters is when does the average player get there, or when does the first sort of 30 to 40% get there, because that's when you start to see like macroeconomic effects upon the system, not just like pestily getting there and trading with hyper out on the flea.
Yeah, for sure. And it is sort of like, I kind of think of it, this is probably a bad analogy, but you take a faucet, and let's say the flow is going to remain the same. Like at the end of the faucet, it'll be dripping with the players, like the Pestilles, the hyper rats, those players. But as the flow continues, it gets broader and broader. But the level representation of the flea market is the length of the pipe, right? So if it's like level 20, it's still kind of like it's the same thing. Whereas like it's 10, it's much shorter, it's much quicker, but you still have those droplets. Pastille's still gonna be the first one out of the faucet. You know what I mean? Whether it's 10 or it's 15, it's just you're sort of expanding you're stretching out that whole scope, if you will, that spectrum.
Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, we will see. We will see. Look, dude, is there anything? What else? Is there anything else you want to cover before we wrap? Because I'm just aware we've been going for what, like an hour 35 or something.
Something like that. I mean, the last thing I'll say is just I gotta do it. But I've been watching a lot of Rust videos, and I haven't played Rust in like a year, and there's so many new features that I wasn't even aware of. Like they have this feature where when you run to someone and you're close enough, you'll see like their name, like a UI will pop up and have their name above their head. And then you have what's called a contact book, and you can open that up, and it will once you trigger that event that you can see their name, it takes a screenshot, and it has like them cropped to their character and their name, what they're wearing, and then you can add them as like friend in the friend category, or you can add them as neutral in the neutral category, and you can add them as enemy in the enemy category. And if they're friend, they'll have like a slightly different color instead of just like a gray text. If it's neutral, it's gray, and then if they're enemy, they'll always be shown as red. So if it ever triggers where you're close enough and you see their name tag, it will be red immediately. But there's like tons, like they have now drones where you it used to be, if I open up the map and I see that someone's got a shop all the way in like the Antarctica, basically, literally in the snow, and they're selling something I want. I have to go from where I am all the way up there to go buy it, and then I gotta take it all the way back, like, dude, and then I mean, you could try to, like, communicate, but, "Hey, could you meet me halfway?" You know, whatever, but they're just they got this automated shop running, and so you gotta take all the risks, go there and get it. Well, now they got this system where you go to the outpost. It's sort of like the hub. It's like a trading post, basically. There's NPCs you can interact with, whatever, and things you can do, but you can pay a fee and it will fly a drone, buy the item, and bring it back to you at this outpost. Now, it's not at your base, but it's a lot better than going from, a
Yeah,
thousand
yeah.
million kilometers north to 1,000,000,000 kilometers south. So it's
That's
kind of
crazy.
interesting because when I think about the flea market, it's like I feel like one of the reasons why the items are so expensive or in such high demand is not because they're necessarily that good. It's definitely a reason. I just feel like you get it so instantly. Like if
Yeah.
if you had to travel somewhere like the labs to use the flea market, just an example, like I feel like the value of the items would be decreased. Anyways, it's a whole nother thing. But listen. I mean, I just saw some posts from I won't name who, but someone was sort of just saying, you should do this to the flea market, or you could just remove it. And it's just I don't know.
I think it'd be cool to test the first like 2 weeks of the white without it, to be honest.
I would welcome it, but at the same time, I can see why they want player trading because it really does provide an open world. I just think how it's implemented currently is just not. It's it's everything's incomplete, so it's sort of a incomplete
Yeah.
system.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. And we've talked
But
about that before. But look, I'd be open to testing it. I'd be open to testing like no flea for a bit,
dude,
and then bring it back.
I would probably really enjoy that. I mean,
I think a lot of people would.
everyone, yeah, it'd be a lot of fun. But dude, especially now with VoIP, like in theory, you
Mhm.
could meet someone, partner with them, and be like, "Hey, I need this for my hideout. Can you get it for me? We'll meet up next raid." Then again,
Yeah.
it's kind of
And you can then
cheesy.
partner up. But then you can like partner up in the thing, like go in, but you have to get out of the raid together still.
Well, not necessarily. You can just put up my butt.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, that's true.
That's kind of the cheesy part, but
Mm.
it is what it is. It's a whole nother topic. I've sort of like I've let that ship sail, dude. I'm just like
You've let that one
whatever.
go. You've let
I'm
the
I'm
security
kind of at
pyramid
the
go.
point where I'm just like, you know what, dude?
What
It's
was the what was that new container?
Omicron. I think
Did
it's
Nikita
oh
predict
my
this?
god. I just realized the new strand.
Did Nikita
Uh,
predict? Was it actually going to be Omicron?
I think so. I mean, I don't know.
Oh my goodness. The tinfoils. I can feel that the tinfoils calling me, Church. I'm gonna have to make a huge like the next stream's just gonna be like I'm gonna be in like a tinfoil fortress with like pictures of Nikita and that gif with the guy where he's like doing, there's conspiracy theory and there's the stuff everywhere and like all the things.
Yes.
Gonna
So
be it.
always sunny in Philadelphia, classic.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
No, but I've just kind of let the ship sail. It's like, you know what? It's whatever. Someone else will anyways, someone else will there's other games, there'll be a new someone will take this and build off of it and whatnot. Like there'll be something to replace. I'm gonna get another tangent here, but I saw Unity no, sorry, Unreal 5 um demo, I guess you call it, on YouTube, and it was the Matrix like interactive
Yeah.
thing. Oh my god, dude. Now, YouTube compression ruins stuff, but this looks so lifelike and the lighting and shadows, like this honestly might be a pretty big leap in graphic. Like I don't know. I wanna look at it on my 1440p monitor on my own YouTube compression because I was watching a reaction video, if you will.
Oh, I see.
Um But it was I think the reaction videos spoke more volumes because they were literally, like, getting distracted and just, like, staring off in the distance, like nothing was happening, and they're like, "Oh, sorry, I was just looking at this looks amazing, guys, like, amazing," you know? So I was like,
Yeah, I
wow,
saw
that
some screenshots, I think. It did look pretty impressive. There was what was that? There was a racing game the other day, like a couple of months ago that people were raving about. I can't like I'm not big on racing games, so I can't remember which one it was. I think Deadly Storm and a few other people were tweeting about it. I can't remember which one it was, but it was something new and it was and they were using ray tracing in it. And there was like a motorbikes thing. Someone in chat will probably tell me. But
F1 racing.
that was no, it wasn't F1. It was like it was definitely motorbikes. It's definitely
I don't
motorbikes. So
know.
I can't remember which one it was. But anyway, I actually showed the like trailer teaser, whatever it was. I showed it to my
Hmm.
dad, and he was like, "Oh my goodness! Oh, they're gonna come off like crazy." And then like I finished it, and I was just like, and then the game name came up, and he was like, "No, no way!" Because it looked like real footage. Honestly, it was insane, absolutely insane. So yeah, some of the graphics on these things now is like it's ridiculous. It is
Yeah,
actually ridiculous. Like it looked like real life. Genuinely, I thought it was real life when I saw it. Just mental, absolutely
it's
mental.
kind of crazy because we're like in that realm where it's like hard to tell. Like that was the whole thing that they were setting up is like they had Keanu Reeves now, and then they had old Keanu Reeves back when he was in the Matrix films, and it was like, wait, is this an animation or is this like is this like dude? And they really blurred the lines there for a second. Like they swapped them out. Like it was you
That's
you can
great.
still tell, but I think we're reaching a point where we're gonna sort of like hit that cusp and have this like I don't even know, dude. It's like, man, am I in a video game? You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, is this a video game? You know, it's kind of
Yeah,
crazy.
it's weird, right? It's like there's that thing of graphics have been like really good for a long time, but they're kind of like really good in like a computerized way. They're almost like too perfect. You know what I mean? So like you've always been able to tell that it's video game graphics or computer graphics,
Right. Right.
even if it's really really good, you can still tell it's not real life.
Yeah.
And now we're really starting to see retail applications of some games or movies or whatever where like sometimes like unless you're paying attention really, and sometimes even then where you just can't tell and you're not sure like you're like, did they film, like is this like half filmed and part CGI, is this fully computer
Hmm.
generated, like, and you just have no idea, and some of it just looks so real. It's wild. It's wild. I think like yeah, a lot of it's some of this like new tech that they're bringing in, like ray tracing and stuff. It's just like so much better for that kind of like realistic just depiction of the way that like light bounces and stuff. It's like hard to do that without using those kind of sort of realistic style models, because like that's a lot more. It's a lot more like the way that it actually works. Speaking of which, I mean, I don't want to derail us again, but are we getting DLSS?
I was wondering that. I don't know.
Some people are saying yes. Some people are saying it opens up the possibility of DLSS, which I
It,
think is more accurate,
well,
but I don't
my
know if it's actually
understanding
coming.
is it's always been there. It's just hasn't the devs like BSG hasn't turned it on yet. Like the functionality's been there, it just hasn't been implemented, I guess. I don't know. Anyways, I think we should be getting it. If the other thing, this is a slightly same vein. NVIDIA released newest drivers that has NIS, which is their version of AMD's Fidelity FXR, which basically I think I'm doing that right. Which basically it takes your let's say you have a 1080p canvas, right? It downscales it to like a weird resolution, like 1437 by 891 or whatever. It's still the 16 by 9 aspect ratio, but it downscales it, and it used AI to like scale it up back to 1080p looking, right? So you maybe at like distance you lose some detail, like very far away, like some very few pixels, but you get the performance of that lower resolution. So like in theory, you could I mean this is probably big for like low end gamers, like, um I don't know if you can play a 1050 on Tarkov, but like 1050, 1060, or sorry, 1650s. Um, you in theory could get a couple, you know, 20% extra performance out of your system. I was watching a video last night of someone that was, getting like 50, 59 frames to 60 frames, and then they cut it on and set it up, and they were still getting the same frames because they were locked, but got like a 20% load lifted off their GPU.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so all that stuff's great, man. Because I would love more frames myself. I might look into that in a NIS stuff. But yeah, as far as like DLS goes, that's a good yeah. To me, it seems like we should be getting it, but we'll
Yeah, a
see.
lot of people are saying that we should be getting it, but I wasn't sure if I hadn't actually seen it
It's like it's not been
done,
talked about.
confirmed. Yeah,
Yeah, not really been like
I don't know.
I don't know. Oh,
We'll see. We'll see. I actually have the latest NVIDIA driver sat here telling me, please install you. Please. It's ready. Please install it. And I'm like, oh, but everything works. I'm
yeah,
becoming
that's how
old,
I
you know?
am.
You know
Yeah,
you're getting old when you're like, I don't update it because when I update things break. No one likes
cool.
having to roll back stuff.
Oh,
Anyway, we'll see. We'll see. I'd like that natively supported. It'd be sweet. It'd be sweet. Cool. Well, that probably is enough.
yeah.
We've
I mean, of course,
I
by the
don't
time
know.
this goes live on, the recording, because it goes out on Monday, the patch will be out. Well, I can't say that for certain, but you know what I
Yeah,
mean. Wink, wink. 12, wink, wink. You know what I'm saying?
exactly. The
So
only thing, right, it's useful, the fact that this goes out kind of like early-ish on a Monday, so that it will maybe no one will have even been able to get a raid yet, if it does drop
true.
on Sunday.
It's
The
true.
servers being blown up. Last time when we had the wipe and the patch and stuff, a lot of the raids that I got into, got in and I was stuck on one spot and couldn't move and then got disconnected. And that happened a lot on the first day for me. So, there's teething issues and we'll see. We'll just see. So best of luck everyone if it is Sunday. I wish you all happy raids and the luck of Nikita himself.
Yep. Um, I gotta stop saying so much. If you made it this far in the show, thank you so much for tuning in, and you're gonna get a special surprise, GigaBeef. Tell them what the surprise is.
uh,
Giga, what's the trick to get your game it's like installed right away, updated right away? There's a trick you talked about last
oh,
time. What is it? You
I just
log in the
saved.
night before?
Yeah, you make sure that you're in the launcher.
Mhm.
And then basically as soon as the patch comes through, you just don't log out. You just stay logged into the launcher, and then when you can just like refresh it, and then it'll just like start downloading. Because a lot of people couldn't get back into the launcher. That was half the issue.
Yes.
They couldn't actually physically log in. But if you're already logged in, you're already authenticated with the server, then you can just stay there. As long as it doesn't have some critical problem and close the launcher,
Mhm.
um, then it should be all right. So just like chill out in the launcher, leave it open, and then yeah, you should just be able to start downloading it from the game server. I think last time I had it because we were talking, weren't we? And I had it downloaded before Pestily,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool.
Dude, I had a
He's an Oz though, so
nightmare.
it's probably a bit unfair.
I couldn't remember my password and I got locked out and I had to do this CAPTCHA and the CAPTCHA wasn't
Oh.
working, Giga. I was the middle square was like not registering. I was clicking it. I had to click it like 1,000 times and it would register. It
Oh my
was
god.
it was a nightmare on wipe day, dude. I was just sitting here streaming, watching other streams. I'm just like, sad, dude. Big sad.
Yeah.
Took me like
Oh
2 hours to finally get in. It was a nightmare. So make sure you stay logged in, you cheeky
yeah.
breakies.
Probably won't work this time, but we'll see.
Yeah. Now they'll patch it out or the launcher will crash. Like who knows?
Yeah,
Force kick you out. Yeah.
exactly.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, we're gonna wrap it up here. Thanks again for tuning in. Appreciate all you and see you guys next week.
Catch you later.